Hello and hello everyone, welcome to class 12 biology. In this video we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 10 on microbes in human welfare. In our previous video we have been discussing about microorganisms which can cause diseases in human beings. We discussed about microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, protozoans, helminths. Those different types of microorganisms, they causes diseases in human beings, therefore they are called as pathogens, right? They are harmful to the human beings. But then there are other microorganisms which are actually useful, which are actually beneficial to the human beings, and therefore we will, in this particular chapter we will be studying about those microorganisms which are beneficial to the human beings. So the topic is microbes in human welfare. So the first one is useful microbes in household products. So what are the microbes which are useful in household products? You all must have consumed curd. So you all must have consumed curd, and you know that curd is prepared from milk. How does this conversion happen? How does this conversion of milk into curd happen? It happens by the presence of certain types of bacteria like lactobacillus and other bacteria commonly called as lactic acid bacteria, which are present inside the milk, and the presence of these bacteria will change the milk into curd by some kind of chemical reaction, during which the bacteria will release certain kind of acid, and that acid will react with the milk protein known as casein, right? And it will cause the coagulation of the protein casein present inside the milk. And when this protein casein coagulates, it turns into curd. Okay, so the presence of bacteria like lactobacillus and other lactic acid bacteria, they convert the milk into curd by reacting with milk proteins. Right, the acid produced by these bacteria, they will react with milk proteins, and therefore it will bring about the curdling process. Now it's not just the thickening of the milk, but the presence of these bacteria not just thickens the milk, it also increases the amount of vitamin B12 in it. Right, if you compare the amount of vitamin B12 between a milk and a curd, the curd will contain more amount of vitamin B12. Now the second beneficial thing is it also checks the growth of harmful bacteria inside your gut. Right? If you consume curd, you are consuming these bacteria along with it, right? Lactobacillus and lactic acid bacteria, it will go along with the curd into your gut, and the presence of these lactobacillus and lactic acid bacteria, they will check the growth of harmful microorganisms in your gut. So therefore it will keep your gut microbiome healthy, right? So that is like a dual benefit. And if you have observed your parents, if you want to have a consistent supply of curd in your house, what they do is after preparing curd, they will keep a little amount of curd for the next use. So that little amount of curd contains these bacteria in them, and that little amount of curd will be kept as an inoculum. So when that particular inoculum is put into the next fresh milk, that milk will get converted into curd. Okay, so inoculum, so that is another word. So inoculum, or the starter, is the thing which we put inside the milk in order to prepare curd. Okay, so you also must have consumed idli and dosa, the famous South Indian dishes, right? Idli and dosa doughs, they are kept overnight for the fermentation process by the bacteria present in it. Right. So the bacteria which is required for the fermentation process, it is already present inside the ingredients required for the preparation of idli and dosa dough or batter. Okay, so I think dosa is prepared from rice and urad dal, right? And the rice and urad dal already contains the bacteria required for the fermentation process. And by fermentation, I hope you know that it is the anaerobic respiration process, which is performed by the bacteria, during which, in the absence of oxygen, the bacteria breaks down organic molecules present inside the dough to produce alcohol, acid, and carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is the one which is responsible for the raising of the dough, and the sour taste is due to alcohol and acids, okay, especially lactic acids. So now this is about idli and dosa. So for preparation of idli and dosa in your kitchen, bacteria is required. So the bacteria is the helpful microbe of this one. Now you also must have prepared bread. So when you prepare a bread dough, you also put baker's yeast. Right. Baker's yeast, scientific name for baker's yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This name is really important. Over here, lactobacillus is important. Here you have to remember the name of this baker's yeast, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So we put baker's yeast in bread dough in order to raise the dough, right? So during that time, the yeast, it will also anaerobically break down the starch or the carbohydrates present inside the dough and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. So like I said, carbon dioxide is responsible for the raising of the dough, right? The gas, carbon dioxide gas, gets filled up within the dough, and therefore the dough rises up, and the little bit of sour taste is due to the presence of alcohol in it. Okay, so that is about the dough. And there is another drink called palm wine, okay, which is also called as toddy in common language, right? So palm wine or toddy, it is prepared in the southern part of India, where palm sap is kept for fermentation process by certain bacteria. So the palm sap is fermented in order to produce wine, palm wine. So alcohol is produced. I told you that during fermentation process, alcohol is produced, ethanol is produced. So therefore, it becomes a beverage. Okay. Now, finally, we have cheese, right? So in order to prepare cheese, you put different types of bacteria in it. Right? For example, the famous Swiss cheese, right? The Swiss cheese, in order to prepare Swiss cheese, you have to put the bacterium known as Propionibacterium shermani. So Propionibacteria shermani is responsible for preparation of Swiss cheese. So this is the Swiss cheese. And then there is another type of cheese called as Roquefort cheese. After preparation of the cheese, if you treat that cheese with fungi, what happens? It becomes a little bit textured, and it gets that funky taste, like fungus-like taste, which people like it, which people love it, right? So that fungus responsible for preparation of Roquefort cheese is Penicillium roqueforti. So here I have written a few names of microbes in blue, right? All these scientific names, they are important and you have to remember them. Lactobacillus for the preparation of curd, Saccharomyces cerevisiae for the preparation of bread. For the preparation of Swiss cheese, you put Propionibacterium shermani, and for preparation of Roquefort cheese, you put fungi like Penicillium roqueforti. Okay, so these names you have to remember. So these are the microbes which are useful in our household products. And then we have microbes which are useful in industrial products. Right. Microbes are also used in production of beverages and antibiotics on industrial scale in fermenters. Right. So these products like beverages and antibiotics, they are produced on industrial scale. By industrial scale, we mean produced in very large quantities. Right. So these beverages and antibiotics, they are produced in very large quantities with the help of large containers known as fermenters. So fermenters are like machines or containers in which these products are produced by the use of helpful microorganisms. Microbes in household products. So household products, they are produced in very little quantities, just for a family maybe, right? But on industrial scales, right, for the production of these same products on industrial scale, you need large fermenters. So here's a fermenter. For example, if you want to prepare a wine on very large scale, you will need fermenter. But if you want to produce antibiotics for the production of antibiotics to be distributed all over the world, then you will need fermenters. So these are large containers in which you can grow these microorganisms, which are responsible for production of beverages and antibiotics. Fermented beverages are one of the industrial products which are produced by the help of useful microorganisms. So fermented beverages like wine, beer, whiskey, brandy or rum, they are produced by fermenting malted cereals and fruit juices in order to produce ethanol. So for the fermentation process, we use a particular microorganism called as brewer's yeast. This brewer's yeast is also called as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Just like baker's yeast, brewer's yeast is also Saccharomyces cerevisiae, a different strain of yeast. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is used in order to prepare or in order to produce these alcohol-based beverages. Saccharomyces cerevisiae carries out alcohol fermentation. So you all must have studied about alcohol fermentation in your class 11 in your respiration chapter. Right. So Saccharomyces cerevisiae carries out alcohol fermentation, during which the yeast breaks down glucose present in malted cereals and fruit juices in order to produce carbon dioxide and ethanol. So during this particular process, the yeast gets energy from ATP. Right. So what do we get in turn is we get ethanol, which is used for production of wine, beer, whiskey, brandy or rum, or these fermented beverages. Now the difference between wine, beer, whiskey, brandy, whiskey and rum is that for production of wine and beer, distillation is not required. Whereas for the production of whiskey, brandy and rum, distillation process is required, during which the alcohol concentration is increased. So if you compare wine and beer, they will contain less concentration of alcohol, whereas whiskey, brandy and rum, they will contain more concentration of alcohol. So you must check what is distillation process. Okay, so Saccharomyces cerevisiae is used for the production of fermented beverages. So here the useful microorganism is brewer's yeast or Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Antibiotics is another industrial product where helpful microorganisms are used. So antibiotics, by the word itself, means anti, Greek word for against, bio means life. Okay, so something which against life. So antibiotics. So antibiotics, they are chemical substances produced by some microbes like fungi, which can kill or retard the growth of other disease-causing microbes like bacteria. So antibiotics, they are usually prescribed for bacterial infections. If you get infected by bacteria, you will be prescribed antibiotics. So the first antibiotic discovered by man was penicillin. It was discovered by a scientist called Alexander Fleming. You might want to find out how he discovered antibiotic penicillin, how he discovered penicillin. It's a very interesting story. He accidentally found penicillin, right? So the discovery of penicillin was quite accidental, right? So he found out that penicillin, it is produced by a fungi called Penicillium notatum, right? So these two names are important. So penicillin is the name of the antibiotic or the chemical substance which is produced by fungi called Penicillium notatum. Okay, so Alexander Fleming discovered this particular molecule. Now, he did not know where to use this particular antibiotic. The effective use of antibiotic penicillin was discovered by these two people, Ernst Chain and Howard Florey, during World War II. So during World War II, many of the soldiers, they died because of bacterial infection of their wounds. So soldiers, they got injured and their injury got infected by bacteria, and many of them, they died because of that, right? So these two scientists, Ernst Chain and Howard Florey, they found out that penicillin, which was discovered by Alexander Fleming, is useful in order to treat those soldiers. And so because of that, many lives were saved. So many soldiers were saved. So for this particular effort, right, all three of them, Alexander Fleming, Ernst Chain and Howard Florey, they all got Nobel Prize in 1945. So that is about penicillin. So penicillin was the first antibiotic discovered by Alexander Fleming. Now, one assignment for you, you have to find some other antibiotics and find out about their sources. For example, penicillin, the source of penicillin is fungus called Penicillium notatum, and Penicillium notatum produces penicillin, and penicillin is used as antibiotics. Just like that, you have to find out some other names of antibiotics and find out about their sources. I have given one example, rifamycin. It is produced from Mycolaptopsis rifamycinia. And this particular antibiotic called rifamycin, it is used for the treatment of tuberculosis, right? So just like that, you have to find out some other antibiotics and their sources. So apart from fermented beverages and antibiotics, microorganisms are also used for the production of chemicals, enzymes, and other bioactive molecules which are useful for human beings. So what are those chemicals, enzymes, and bioactive molecules? Now, chemicals like acids, right? So these acids, they are produced by certain kind of organisms. So citric acid, it is produced by Aspergillus niger, right? Acetic acid, it is produced by Acetobacter aceti. Butyric acid, it is produced by Clostridium botulinum. Lactic acid, it is produced by Lactobacillus, right? So these are the names that you should remember. Aspergillus niger, it is used for the production of citric acid. Acetobacter aceti, it is used for the production of acetic acid. Clostridium botulinum is used for the production of butyric acid, and Lactobacillus is used for the production of lactic acid. So these are the microorganisms used for the production of acids. And then we have Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is used for the production of ethanol through fermentation process, right? So then we have enzymes, enzyme producers. Bacteria like Streptococcus, they produce an enzyme called streptokinase. So how is streptokinase used for the human beings? Streptokinase is used for clot busters. If you have blood clots within you, they can be harmful for your body. They can cause strokes, right? So if you treat those people with streptokinase, streptokinase acts like a clot buster and treats the patient. And streptokinase is obtained from Streptococcus bacteria. Lipases, right? Enzymes like lipases, which are obtained from other microorganisms, they are used in detergents. Pectinases and proteases, are the enzymes which are also obtained from other microorganisms, which are used for juice clearing agents. So you get juices from the market, right? They are prepared from fruit pulps, right? And it has got different coloration when it is prepared raw. But then if you treat them with pectinases and proteases, those juices become clear. So these act like juice clearing agents, right? So these enzymes, they are obtained from different microorganisms. And then we also have bioactive molecules which are also produced by useful microorganisms like Trichoderma polysporum, which produces a bioactive molecule called cyclosporin A. So the fungus Trichoderma polysporum produces cyclosporin A, and cyclosporin A is used as immunosuppressant. This particular chemical, it acts as immunosuppressant. It suppresses the immunity which is required for patients who have undergone organ transplants. So patients who have undergone organ transplants, they need to be treated with immunosuppressant because the body's immune system may attack the transplanted organ, right? So in order to prevent that, immunosuppressants like cyclosporin is used, and cyclosporin is obtained from Trichoderma polysporum. And then we have other bioactive molecules like statins, which is obtained from yeast like Monoscus purpureus. This is a different kind of yeast, not Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, so statins are obtained from yeast like Monoscus purpureus, and statins act as blood cholesterol lowering agent, right? People who have got high cholesterol in their blood, right, they are given statins. So statins, they will lower the cholesterol amount inside the blood. Right. So these are chemicals, enzymes, and bioactive molecules which are obtained from these microorganisms. So you should remember the names of these microorganisms. Okay.